What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Great League. We're going to be taking a look at BELLIBOLT, Araquanid, and Shadow SCIZOR today. All three got buffed this season. BELLIBOLT has the buffed Parabolic Charge, Araquanid has the buffed Bug Bite, and SCIZOR, Shadow SCIZOR in this case, has the buffed Bullet Punch. So very exciting, all three, taking a look at all three of these Pokemon. The reason we're pairing these three together today is because SCIZOR, believe it or not, I mean, yes, it has one weakness because it is a Bug Steel, similar to like Fortress and Worminimp Trash, except it's a lot glassier and it hits a lot harder. That said, it's only got one weakness. It's a double weakness to fire, so we're covering that with Araquanid. Araquanid as a water type. Of course, it is a bug bite user and half bug, but it's also extremely bulky to help offset SCIZOR's glassiness there. And then, believe it or not, BELLIBOLT actually beats all of the fire types that SCIZOR has trouble with. When you think about what is available for the fire types, your most common are going to be Talonflame, which has resisted Fly and Brave Bird. We've got Typhlosion, which can't bait with a Thunder Punch because that's resisted. You've got like Skeleturge and Marowak, which are half Ghost, so they take super effective from Sucker Punch. So that core there is actually surprisingly strong, and then you kind of just pick the water type that you want to use. But yeah, without further ado, let's hop into some battles. Okay, so BELLIBOLT into Cradily. This is a bad lead for the first match, so I'm going to safe switch into Araquanid. My opponent is on the newly buffed Acid, but look how much HP they've already lost before they even throw a charge move. Yes, Rock Tomb hurts, and yes, it is super effective damage, but when they come in with a Charizard, I'm already up energy, and even though Ember did get an energy buff this season, I'm still able to connect with that, and now I'm going to get a double resisted Bug Bite farm down. My opponent probably tried to call a Bubble Beam bait, but unfortunately I'm not running it. And I think that's a common pattern in these battles, but they end up coming in with their third, which is the Walrein there, which has resisted Powder Snows, so they don't have the ability to farm down without giving me a shield for the Bug Buzz. Now I can align my BELLIBOLT here. Fortunately, I don't get one turn lag. This could be enough for the Earthquake, but I need to run with SCIZOR here. So I'm going to let that go, instantly pivot into the SCIZOR, and now I'm going to oh, I guess I'm not going to throw. I thought I was going to throw the Night Slash right before they got to a charge move. I'm just going to shield this up and go for the full farm down so that I can come up with back-to-back moves. This first match, you'll notice I was actually not... I was on Discharge instead of Zap Cannon and X-Scissor instead of Trailblaze. So I do end up fixing that after this first battle. But with a charge move loaded on the BELLIBOLT and a another Night Slash coming their way, my opponent knows they can't shield anything, so they just let that go, and we're able to take the first win. Into next match, we pick up a good lead into Dugong, and they safe switch into a Drapion. Now, we don't have a great answer for Drapion on this team. SCIZOR, of course, would double resist the Poison Stings, but the Crunches come super fast, and Night Slash and Trailblaze are both resisted there, so I'm forced to send in my Araquanid here. I can fortunately take two Crunches and live them both, and my opponent did not get the defense drop because that is a lower chance now. They end up letting the Water Pulse go, maybe trying to call a Bubble Beam bait, and that allows me to... Am I going to get to a charge move here? No, just going to barely go down with the energy, and now that means my opponent can likely connect with a Drill Run. That said, I can let this go because I need to save shields for SCIZOR. My opponent ends up baiting with an Icy Wind, so now I'm going to buff my defense up with a Parabolic Charge. This is super effective damage, so my opponent actually respects the damage, and now I'm definitely going to let this go. Drill Run probably still enough to take out from this range, but my opponent baits again. At this point, I'm going to pivot into my SCIZOR. I'm going to overfarm, play to the CMP tie with the Night Slash. Night Slash from this range will pick up the knockout, and they're going to save their shield for the Dedenne, but unfortunately for my opponent, I get the boost, and they no longer have a win con, so they just resign the match. Picking up a tough lead in the next match, we have a little bit of an AVA weakness to Fairy here, because we have a Bug Bite user and a Sucker Punch user, so both of those resisted. But we safe switch into our Araquanid and we bait out a Bastiodon. So already alarm bells are firing because when I see a Wiggly and I see a Bastiodon, you know what that makes me think? there is a Shadow Vic in the back, and I'm guessing it's probably on acid this season. However, I'm unable to take switch, and I do get 1 turn lag on bring in. I'm kind of forced to just let this go. At least in this case, bullet punches are neutral, so I always have an ability to potentially farm down here with SCIZOR. So because I also have super effective bullet punches on the Wigglytuff and the Victory Bell would have double resisted fast moves, whether it was grass or poison, I end up just over farming, forcing them to throw their energy, and then I just come in with SCIZOR because now they have no energy anywhere, and I can just fully bullet punch, commit to the farm down against this Wiggly, and then whatever is in the back is going to have to take loaded energy and have no ability to farm down, and there it is. There is the Shadow Victory Bell, but this one is actually on Razor Leaf, which is pretty interesting, but that is double resisted in this case, and look at the bullet punches go already at the back-to-back Night Slashes here. They've already shielded 1, they can't shield 2 more, so here comes a 3rd Night Slash, and it looks like we actually got the boost on the 2nd Night Slash as well. So Night Slash comes through, gets the knockout, we can bullet punch, farm down the Wiggly, and we're able to take that game. Always saving shields for SCIZOR in these matchups, I tell you what, it works like a charm. Really tough lead in the next match. We've got a Diggersby on the lead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to farm up to the Parabolic Charge and then catch onto my Araquanid. This is the same amount of energy it takes to their first Scorching Sands, so we catch a resisted Scorching Sands, which is fantastic, because now they have no energy there, and we have a banked charge move on our Bellibolt. Of course, when they come in with a Wiggly, that becomes a little bit harder because we have no ability to farm down with our Bellibolt, so I wouldn't be surprised if I try and take a charge move on my Bellibolt and then instantly pivot into my SCIZOR. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in with my Bellibolt, force them to throw their energy. Everything is not, what am I talking about? It's not resisted here because I'm not on SCIZOR, but now in comes the SCIZOR. We got a bullet punch head start, so now what is in the back? Do they want to see the SCIZOR? It is a Golisopod, and unfortunately for the Golisopod, they are down energy here, and we have the exact same pacing. It is 5 to a Night Slash, and 5 or 10 turns to a Aqua Jet, and my opponent is going to go for it, and I don't know if you saw, but we got another Night Slash boost. My opponent makes a really nice play. They end up catching the Night Slash onto their Diggersby, but I know this Diggersby is energy dry, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to overfarm here, throw the Night Slash on the CMP tie with a Fire Punch, and now I know my opponent has 1 charge move loaded on their Golisopod. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shield this up. I'm going to go for the full farm down. I don't quite have a Night Slash loaded, so I'm forced to pivot into my Bellibolt. My opponent is forced to throw because I have a charge move loaded on the Bellibolt, and even if this knocked out, it would be game over because I would outpace the Night Slash, but it actually doesn't. Bellibolt hangs on. We're able to make it to a Parabolic Charge, and of course, with the 100% defense boost, we're able to take that win. Neutral lead in the next match. I haven't seen a Miltank in a while, and I don't really see it coming back in this current meta, but we will have to see. We do outpace to the first move because my opponent is trying to throw in good timing. I mean, they could have thrown the Body Slam on 3, but potentially going for a harder hitting Ice Beam here. But no, they do end up just going for the Body Slam after I already buffed my defense, so that does nothing. It looks like it's going to take 3, maybe more if I boost again. And let's see, are they going to let me do it? They are. So here comes a second Parabolic Charge, boosting my defense once again. This is a neutral matchup, so I can take this Body Slam, and then I wouldn't be surprised if I pivot out of this matchup in case Electric Energy goes somewhere on this team. Nope, I'm just going to let them take me out. They were at the back-to-back charge moves, so definitely just gonna let that go. Now, coming in with Araquanid to get an energy lead, they end up coming in with a Samurott, and so now we have a battle of the Bug-type fast moves water Pokemon, but my opponent has a huge pacing advantage here because they're on Fury Cutter. Fury Cutter does generate energy a lot quicker, but Bug Bite does a lot more damage, and you can see that in this matchup. We've taken a charge move and we've almost put them at the same health range, which is pretty crazy. Hydro Cannon does connect, it is able to pick up the knockout, but we are so bulky on the Araquanid that it took 2 charge moves to pick up the knockout. Now I can come in with SCIZOR, I have a huge shield advantage, so now I'm just going to go for the full farm down. And now what is in the back? It is a Metang. They try and go for a peekaboo play with their Miltank, they're unsuccessful, and with that unsuccessful catch, they do just resign the match. Dedenne on the lead. So this is a core breaker for this team because Sucker Punch is resisted, Parabolic Charge and Zap Cannon are both resisted, but my opponent makes a strange play. They only go for a Parabolic Charge, and that is resisted damage. So you know what? I'm going to full send a Zap Cannon here because I want to do huge damage to this Dedenne after they've already buffed their defense. And look, I got the attack drop on the Dedenne, which is huge. So now this Parabolic Charge isn't going to do much, and they're going to be forced to throw a play rough here if they want to pick up the knockout, or they're going to have to give me switch. And they actually do end up fully committing to the play rough. I'm able to get the resisted bug bite farm down, come out with a little bit of extra energy on my Arachnid. So what is in the back? We have a Torterra in the back, and then they have an Azumarill. So they've given me the alignment that I need. Maybe going for a catch on their Azumarill. I'm not really sure what the play was there. Maybe not understanding that bug bite is super effective on Torterra there, but now I can shield that up. I can go for the Trailblaze. These Sucker Punches are absolutely shredding through the Azumarill. And at this point, if I boost my attack one more time, I think I can fully Bullet Punch farm down this Azumarill. And my opponent is kind of just forced to call a Night Slash bait here, and that's exactly what they try and do. But now I get to a Night Slash here, and if I grab this shield, then this game is over. And I do, because I'm close to the Water Pulse. Water Pulse is neutral damage here because they are half ground, half grass, super effective on the ground and resisted on the grass, and not quite enough to pick up the knockout, but a few bug bites more and we're able to take the win. Of course, back-to-back Dedenne leads. I mean, this thing, you can't scream algorithm because this thing is just absolutely everywhere for good reason. It is so good. You saw it in my video yesterday, hopefully when this goes live. So yeah, it's absolutely insane. This one is also going straight Parabolic Charge. I'm not really sure that's the play in this matchup when you have a neutral charge move and everything is resisted on my end anyways. Doesn't really make sense to boost your defense, I guess. I would just come out loaded with energy and then boost my defense later. But this one actually shields the Zap Cannon, but we can get the attack drop once again, which is nice. That was not quite enough to pick up the knockout, so I actually pivot into my SCIZOR here, hoping I can force my opponent out. And if they're, depending on the pairing here, I will be able to potentially hit for super effective damage to their back Pokemon. So I am going to throw the Trailblaze on the Sampitai. My opponent actually commits the shield and goes for another Parabolic Charge. Can I get the full farm down still? I can. So now I'm loaded with energy. What is in the back? It is their own SCIZOR. So here comes one Night Slash. They're one away from a Night Slash of their own, but that almost one-hit KOs because of the Trailblaze boost. That is insane damage. And then they have a Samurott in the back, so now Samurott's going to be met with a super effective boosted Trailblaze. It's the Shadow, so it one-shots, and SCIZOR absolutely running away with the game. Neutral lead in the next match, we've got Bellibolt into Fortress. Obviously this is a slightly negative matchup because they do have the option to hit for super effective damage with either Sand Tomb or Earthquake, but because this is the non-Shadow, I'm assuming Earthquake. However, my opponent doesn't even farm up to it. They only go for a Sand Tomb, and does that put me in Bug Bite farm down range? Not quite, so I'm able to make it to a second Parabolic Charge. My opponent wants switch, they're going to have to shield, but they do not. They have a Marowak in the back, so I instantly pivot into my Arachnid. And arguably that was not the right play. I could have just let them get the farm down on my Bellibolt, and then just come in and aligned with my Arachnid there, and then had my SCIZOR aligned to their Jellicent in the back. But I've already given up a shield in this matchup. And now they're going to connect with a Shadow Ball. It's neutral damage. It really doesn't do that much damage. And I will be able to make it to a second Bug Buzz, but instead I'm going to catch and waste their energy onto my Bellibolt, and it is the Shadow Ball, so that's huge. Because now if I can come in with my SCIZOR and get an energy lead, we could be in a really good spot here. I am going to throw the Night Slash on the Sampitai, forcing my opponent to make a decision. Do they want to get off this energy and grab my shield? They do, and I get the boost. So now I am absolutely going to commit to the SCIZOR, but my opponent is going to outpace to the charge move. And unfortunately, I do not see a win con unless we live this, and we don't. But I've got the water pulse loaded. I have a lot of energy, and my opponent lets it go, and I bug bite farm down the gelatin, and somehow we were able to take that win. I think my opponent was thinking that their win con was them calling a bait on a bubble beam because I had so much energy farmed up. So they ended up no shielding. It was a water pulse, and we were able to take that win. They're probably expecting bubble beam bug buzz, so because they had already seen the bug buzz and I hadn't shown the water pulse. But in the next match, we've got a neutral lead. Battle of the non-stab sucker punch users. One of us boosts our attack and the other boosts their defense. And we're going to end up catching the Swift onto my Araquanid, and we bait out an Acid Dragalge. Now, Acid is a Shadow Claw clone this season, but they don't farm up too much, so I think this is only a Sludge Bomb. Yeah, they're not running Outrage, which is okay. All of my charge moves are resisted here, so I'm forced to kind of just go for the harder hitting Bug Buzz. Bug Buzz does pretty crap damage to the Dragalge, and they're able to get a full Acid farm down, which is pretty unfortunate. I'm going to come in with the Bellibolt. I'm just going to take this charge move and then pivot into my SCIZOR, but I actually live it and I have enough energy to potentially pick up a knockout, and I don't really want to take a charge move on my SCIZOR, so I decide I may as well throw the energy, and my opponent ends up committing shield anyways and then throwing a double resisted Sludge Bomb onto my SCIZOR. They end up coming in with a Gligar in the back, and because I have an energy lead, I can boost my attack first, and then I can go for a Night Slash, and as long as they're not on Night Slash of their own, they can't outpace here. And of course, my opponent is on Night Slash, but the question is, can SCIZOR hold on? This is non-stab. We live on 1 HP, able to make it to the Night Slash. Night Slash from this range, especially boosted, is going to pick up the knockout, and then Bullet Punch versus Sucker Punch. We're able to Bullet Punch them down and Bullet Punch farm down the Dragalge because Acid is double resisted, and we're able to take that win. Into the final match of the video, we've got Bellibolt into Fortress. We have seen this lead before, and we're going to play it out the exact same way. We have a pacing advantage in this matchup, so we're going to instantly boost our defense as soon as we get there. Parabolic Charge does connect. They no shield that. And this opponent, I think, did farm up to the Earthquake, maybe just short, so I am going to let this go. It is just a Rock Tomb bait. Rock Tomb does lower my attack, and my opponent makes a really nice play. They make a catch and a sneak of a Mud Slap onto their Marowak, but that gives me the alignment I need. So even if they connect with a Rock Slide here, I'm fine with that. Araquanid is extremely bulky. Araquanid shakes that off no problem, and we can take these Mud Slaps for days. They only end up committing to a Bone Club here, so I'm definitely just going to let this go. This is resisted damage. It really doesn't do much. I'm going to overfarm even more now because they gave me the opportunity to, and now I'm at back-to-back Water Pulses, so my opponent, they could shield and try and get off this charge move, but it's not going to end well for them. I am now able to make it to a Water Pulse because of that misplay in the mid-game by my opponent, and Water Pulse does pick up the knockout, and it is a Morpeko in the back, and yes, these Bullet Punches are resisted on the electric typing of Morpeko, but I don't think anyone told Shadow SCIZOR that, because these Bullet Punches are absolutely shredding. We ended up throwing the Night Slash on the CMP tie with their Aura Wheel, but at this point, I'm seeing their health range, I'm seeing how glassy Morpeko is, and I'm seeing how much damage these Bullet Punches are doing, and I think I don't need to throw a charge move, I just need to commit to a fast move farm down. Because I have two Pokemon in the back. If I commit to it, they're forced to throw their energy, and they're in one fast move range. So even though they connect with an Aura Wheel, they're energy dry at this point. All it's going to take is one fast move from either of my Pokemon. I decide the Bellibolt, and we are able to take that win. But yeah, that is Shadow SCIZOR. I'll tell you what, this thing was absolutely insane. Of course, I boosted quite a bit in these matchups, and I definitely played in favor of the SCIZOR, and what I mean by that is I almost always no-shielded everything on Bellibolt and Araquanid, played to the bulk of those two Pokemon, and then saved the shield for SCIZOR to absolutely run away with the game. And I think that's kind of what you need to do with a Shadow Bullet Punch user. I mean, when it's stab, it just does so much damage, and with the ability to boost your attack with both Night Slash and Trailblaze, this Pokemon is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me from this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.